This illustration deals with the largest motor load. In accordance with NEC 220.60 and NEC 430.24. Also review NEC 440.34 and NEC 220.50. Now these sections deal with compressor and motor loads and gives you the information needed so you know how to make these calculations. Now notice the motors you see in the illustration, the compressor and the the AC unit. Any of these could be the largest, and we have looked at these loads and we've calculated them. To the left we have the motor loads, number 5. And notice there's a 10 horsepower motor, 20 and 25 horse. And then of course we have the largest motor, the 30 horsepower motor, and load 5 is the 460 volt 3-phase motor. The loads 4 that we look at is a compressor. And our compressors in this case, we have a 35 amp and a 45 amp, 460 volt 3-phase. And notice the 45 amp is eligible to be considered the largest motor along with the 30 horsepower motor in load 5. Now load 6, we have a 7 amp, 480, or 460 volt 3-phase AC unit. Now one of these have to be considered the largest motor on this service or feeder. So calculating the load for the largest motor load, we'll apply step 1. And again, to find the full load amps of the motor, not the nameplate, but the full load current by the table, we'd look at 430.6A1. And again, table 430.250 using the 460 volt 3-phase column. The 30 horsepower motor is 40 amps. The compressor is 45 amps. And the AC unit is 7 amps when we do our comparison here. So which is the largest so far? The compressor at 45 amps. So step 2, we would apply 430.24 as well as 440.34. We have 40 amps at 100%, 45 at 100%, 7 amps at 100%. So we have 40 amps, 45 amps, and 7 amps. 45 amps being selected as the largest motor, loads 5 and 6. Then we would take the 45 amps at 25%, which is in the quick calc 1 motor load below, and we'd come up with 56 amps at 125%. But applying the 25% rule, because you took all these loads at 100%, it'd be quick calc 2 to determine the largest motor. And we would take the 45 amps at 25%, and we'd add 11.25 amps to the loads. Now, notice this would be the procedure if you were adding all of the loads together to determine the total VA and amps for the service conductors. But to figure just the feeder or the service in some cases, but just for the feeder, if they ask you that on the test, then we would take the 45 amps at 125% and add the 40 and 7 amps to it, and that would be considered the compressor and motor load as it is shown, calculated in this illustration 2-16.